Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld again. Thanks for stopping by. And just remember, if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that like button. Also, feel free to take a look at some of my other videos if you like. You can find them all in different playlists in the description down below. But anyway, ever since the days of Wolfenstein 3D and Doom, the most popular FPS franchises have either had a sci-fi theme or futuristic elements. And why wouldn't they? Because a high-tech theme allows for a lot more freedom when it comes to the development process. Present-day shooters and even World War II shooters stole the limelight for quite a while, but even so, the sci-fi genre has always remained a big part of FPS gaming. And with new IPs like Destiny and Titanfall hitting the scene, and so many older franchises becoming more futuristic, the genre seems to be back with a vengeance, and it looks like it's here to stay. So today we're going to take a look at what I think are the very best sci-fi shooter franchises post the year 2000. And even with this limitation, I've got to admit this was still a very hard list to make with so many great games out there, which is why this video is on franchises rather than individual games. Also, to nail down a top 5, I tried to pick the games that I personally remember the most and the games that I think had the biggest influence on the genre. So with that being said, your list may look completely different, so if that is the case, feel free to leave it in the comments section below. But anyway, to kick off, coming in at number 5 is Borderlands, which is a franchise that never takes itself too seriously and yet has managed to remain one of the most popular franchises in the genre. And that's because Borderlands is an almost cartoony FPS RPG set in a sprawling world that you can explore for hours on your own or with friends. Borderlands features customizable classes and a randomly generated loot system, which means that like in games like Diablo, you can never run out of things to collect. And it's for this reason that even the older games in the series are still so popular, because as simplistic as the gameplay is, each and every playthrough is going to be a completely different experience. So coming in next at number 4 is Halo, which ever since it came out back in the year 2001 has been one of the most popular FPS franchises and the flagship of the Xbox brand. And that's because Halo managed to seamlessly merge cutting-edge graphics and gameplay with great storytelling and an addictive multiplayer experience. The most important thing about Halo though was what it did for FPS games on console, which at the time were just poor imitations of their PC counterparts. And also, it was one of the first multiplayer FPS games that I can remember that really did vehicles well, which is a feature that we all take for granted in games like BF4 today. Now, coming in next at number 3 is Star Wars Battlefront, which in 2004 basically took everything I loved about games like BF 1942 and Halo and merged it all with a Star Wars theme. And once again, it did it all on console as well as PC, meaning that it was probably the first truly large-scale shooter that console players got their hands on. I must admit, Battlefront is probably one of my favourite franchises of all time, but the only reason it's not higher on this list is because after Battlefront 2, we didn't see another game in the series for 10 years. And today, the current Battlefront that you can see on screen now, as fun as it is, seems like a relic of a bygone era and has largely failed to hit the mark with the majority of the FPS community. Now, coming in next at number 2 is one of my favourite franchises of all time, Fallout, which hit the scene as an isometric RPG back in '97, but made the transition to FPS in 2008. Fallout 3 was also the first game in the series made by Bethesda, a developer already well known for their massively popular open-world RPG franchise, The Elder Scrolls. Bethesda gave the Fallout franchise the same grand scale of games like Morrowind and Oblivion, and enough content to last hundreds of hours, something that hadn't been seen in FPS games before. And clearly the formula worked, because the latest installment in the series, Fallout 4, is already a massive success, outselling even games like Black Ops 3. Now, before we get on to the number 1 spot on this list, I should give an honourable mention to Unreal Tournament, which for my money is probably the best sci-fi arena shooter ever made. Sure, games like Quake come close, but I think Unreal Tournament was really the franchise that perfected the genre, and it's the franchise that I remember the best. Also, I should give another mention to CRYSIS, which will probably go down as one of the most technically impressive and visually stunning franchises of all time. And the only reason it's not higher on this list is because as good as the campaigns are, the franchise never really managed to make a big dent in the already oversaturated multiplayer FPS community. But finally, coming in at number 1 is none other than Half-Life, and in particular, I mean Half-Life 2, which is considered by many to be one of the best games ever made. And I'm talking better than Ocarina of Time and better than GTA 5. This game is truly a masterpiece in terms of graphics, gameplay, and storytelling. But apart from this, the biggest reason for the success of this game is because at the core of Half-Life 2 is probably the greatest FPS engine of all time, the Source engine. An engine which is still so good, it currently drives 3 of the most popular games on the market: CSGO, Team Fortress 2, and Dota 2. But anyway, guys, that just about wraps up this list. So let me know what your top 5 is in the comment section below. And as always, if you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, check out the links in the description if you want to see more of my videos, or if you want to support my channel on Patreon. And until next time, see you later, and have a good one.